data engineering course. Okay, this is what your expectation as well, what you
Yeah.
told me, right? Now, over here, we are going to cover not only the data engineering fundamental concepts, which is very important for you at this point of time. However, we are also going to cover the Azure concepts. Okay, so maybe we'll start with the fundamental of Azure and gradually we will move to the data engineering. All right.
Yes.
So when we talk about the basically, data engineering as such, so it includes not only about like, how the technology work. However, what is right, you need to understand since you are from the data analytics, background, whichever tool you must be using over there, you definitely must be have understanding that when we talk about the data analytics, there are a lot of fundamental concepts comes in picture. That includes basically how the data work, how the storage work, then what is the data warehouse, what is ETL concepts, and so on. Correct? So those concepts are very important to understand before using any tool as such. All right.
Yeah.
So we will definitely go ahead and cover those. And that's what it has been mentioned over here that Azure Data Engineering focuses on designing, building, managing, and data solutions on the Microsoft Azure platform. And when we talk about the Azure platform, hope you have heard or must, or I'm not sure if you ever use the Azure platform. It's a cloud platform of Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
Where we will go ahead and have all these services that includes basically data factory as an ETL service, then Synapse as a data warehouse service, where we will go ahead and manage, huge amount of data. Again, we have like data lake storage and so on. So how these things can be like, used in an optimistic way as well as in a very, right way as such that we will go ahead and try to understand over here. Now, what skill you are going to gain over here? So proficiency in the cloud data platform, that is Microsoft in the Microsoft Azure. Okay, so the platform is going to be the Azure, and later we are going to basically move to the services. So you are not only understand about the data platform, however, overall Azure also you will have the understanding over here. Okay. Now, again, building and managing data pipeline with using data factory. So as I told you, Azure Data Factory is one of the services which is going to be used for the ETL. Have you ever heard about the ETL process or ELT as such?
Means see, normally I have heard that, sir, but
Mhm.
not having a practical
Data
real-time
knowledge. Okay.
expression.
Okay. No problem. See,
Yeah.
ETL is basically like if you are going to work with any data as such, okay, any data, okay, you
Okay.
need to go ahead and get the data or extract the data from the data source. The data source could be a very simple example, maybe like, your social media websites, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or maybe like, your OTT channels as such. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we will go ahead, so there should be like automation process. It should be not like that, something where we will just go ahead and extract the data at once, all the data and start working. That is also in few cases required, but in an enterprise level, we always need the automation in that, where automatically there should be a pipeline between the social media website and our data, like, factory as such, where we will keep like, have a pipeline and keep extracting the data. So E stands for extraction. Okay.
Yes.
Then T is for a transformation. When we say transformation, it means that whenever we extract the data, there would be chances that the data would be not a good data as such, right? It's a huge raw data we generally get extract, right? So we
Yeah.
convert this in a good data, which is basically actually helpful in our business sense. So this is what the transformation. And finally, load. Load means what? Definitely, it's a basic word where we are keeping the data in a right place. In terms of the security, we can have a good security in terms of the backup and so on. Once we keep loading the data in a right place, then what will happen? After that, we can analyze those data with the help of maybe SQL, with the help of maybe Power BI, or maybe any other basically tool. So ADF, that is Azure Data Factory, is such a service which is going to help us in terms of the ETL. So it's a very important concepts, little complex, needs to understand properly. And then, so we will go in detail about this particular service in the Azure, that is Azure Data Factory. All right.
Yeah.
Second, there is something as a data warehouse. When I say data warehouse, you know that this is the era of big data. Today, the AI is so much famous only because we have a huge volume of data. We are able to basically use the artificial intelligence. We are able to make the AI applications because we have a huge amount of data. So it's important to go ahead and keep those data in a right way at the right place with a right you know uh, uh, intention as such. Yeah.
Mm.
So when I say data warehouse in Azure, we have something as an Azure Synapse Analytics, which is actually include like ETL process, then the analytic process, and also the visualization process, everything within one service. This is again very important, very useful. In an enterprise level, people are using it successfully for last almost, you can say, like around 6 7 years when it has been introduced. So we are going to understand that as well in a very detailed way. Uh, in Azure Synapse Analytics, you can analyze the data with the help of Python language, with the help of SQL language, with the help of R language. So those things. In fact, if you heard about very popular one where there are a lot of openings in these days, something as in PySpark. Yeah.
Mm.
So we are going to learn PySpark a little bit over here as well. All right. That is a basically Spark engine with Python. That's what known as PySpark. All right. So we will go ahead and learn about that. We will use the Jupyter notebook as well over here to go ahead and analyze a lot of data. Then we have working with scalable storage solutions like Azure Data Lake Storage. We are talking about basically a way to keep the huge volume of data over here. And when we are keeping the data, there should be a proper file format actually. Okay. When we are talking about the huge amount of data, it is going to basically not only keeping the data is important, however, the data access is also very important. So how frequently we are accessing the data in the right way so that there should be not data leak or data loss would be there. Okay. So this is one of the ways actually, there's one of the concept data lake that we are going to understand in the Azure. Coming to the basically modules over here. And definitely, when we are talking about all these concepts, it's not just a theory. We are going to cover in detail with a lab. All right. So today, I am going to start with the fundamental. So, like first module, basically, that is going to introduction to the data engineering and cloud, where we are going to cover the basics of data engineering concepts and the life cycle. We will also going to cover over here the overview of cloud computing using Microsoft Azure, because when we talk about the cloud, over here we have multiple again providers of this, right? And three big players are Microsoft, Google, and AWS, right? So we are going to see that how interfaces are working, how we can use the Azure actually. There are multiple interfaces, there are multiple ways how we are used so that the data manipulation, calculation, and the analysis could be easily done. Okay, so those things we will see. Role of data engineer in modern data driven systems, we'll try to understand. So once we'll give the introduction today, in next few sessions, we are going to cover in the module 2, that is a Azure fundamental, where I will show you the core services and the architecture of Azure. Until and unless you will not understand the architecture of Azure, you could not basically go ahead and use the Azure in a right way for the data manipulation or data factory or data warehouse. So those things. So there are concepts like a resource group, subscription, management tools we will go ahead and cover. We'll also go ahead and cover something as in compute, storage, and networking in Azure. Because when we are talking about the data is definitely going to keep somewhere, right? And that somewhere is nothing but the storage. So if you don't understand that how in Azure we can keep the data in a right way, you could not basically, use it in a right way. Or you can say that you could not basically utilize those data in a right with a security or the backup or the disaster recovery kind of concepts. When we say compute, so definitely when we run any SQL command, or maybe even if you're using the Excel, when you actually go ahead and apply the formula, so there is a process that actually go ahead and run at the back end, which needs the power. And that is what we are talking about, the compute over here. So the process, the RAM, the utilization of the basically compute power is different in a different platforms. And this is what the compute in Azure we are going to understand. Networking is important because at the end of the day, we are going to keep all this data in the cloud. And when I say cloud, it is nothing but the internet, either it is in the public network or maybe in the private network. Now, if I don't understand what is networking and how does networking work in Azure, there will be a lot of chances that my critical data can be compromised over there. So to whom I need to give the access, or like how we can decide or configure the authorization, that is also important to understand. And this is what we are going to understand in the networking, how we can put the firewall like in front of the data, so before anyone reach to my data and misuse that, I could go ahead and put a network layer over there. And most of the time it is a firewall or other security concepts we have in Azure that we'll try to understand. Okay. So far, any questions, Pawan?
Nothing as of now.
Hope you are getting.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Then module 3, we will actually start right away with the data storage concepts. Now, when I say data storage concepts, traditionally, you must have seen we have basically relational and non-relational databases. Relational, you must have seen. Non-relation has been started like around 10 years ago. When I say relational database, it means that when we use a MySQL or MS SQL, so these type of, systems, we have multiple tables over there, and those multiple tables can be connect with each other. So some data we will keep one table and some related data will may keep in the other table, and we connect or relate these two tables. So whenever we need any specific set of data, suppose which are in the table 1, we can directly go ahead and get it from table 1 or maybe table 2. However, there would be a lot of related data I may need from both the tables, and that should be a sensible data, which should be a related data. In that case, the relationship is important. However, in this case, the capacity of the storage would be always limited. And when you talk about the Microsoft SQL or a MySQL, over there is a limit of the data that we can keep over there. And that is the reason the non-relational database came in picture when we started actually dealing with the volume of data. And this is what the concepts of Hadoop came in picture, big data came in picture, where we are talking about basically a single table and we are keeping a volume of data over there. So in this case, however, there are a lot of concepts of basically indexing where we can easily fetch the data, we can easily update the database or write the data in the database. So how those things actually work over here, we will try to understand. Similarly, data lake and data warehouse concept. So data lake is like, kind of the basic example you can see in these days, you see the OTT on demand television, right? So over there, they use basically what data lake kind of concepts where they can keep a lot of movies, thousands of movies, movie file in the data lake. And whenever anyone wants, they can just click on a certain icon and they are able to watch. However, on the other hand, if I need to go ahead and basically keep our like numerical data in a right way, or uh, uh, yeah, uh, you can say CRM systems, employee data, or maybe any business data in a very organized way as such, where We can, create the like dashboard and other things where the data warehouse comes in picture. So what is the basic difference between the data lake and data warehouse? In terms of utilization, we are also going to understand. Then data lake, Azure Data Lake is storage. This is what the service, what we will see in detail, because when you actually learn about the Synapse, over there, we are going to use the data lake as storage. Then data integration, where we are talking about the data integration technique and pipeline. So integrate the data from the basically multiple sources to the Azure and keep the pipeline real time data. If you remember, like around 15-20 years ago, what used to be happen in the banking system, that whenever any transactions generally happen, people go to the bank, to the teller machine, and they deposit the money, or they basically withdraw the money. What used to be happen, the specific bank branch just update those data about the transaction at that point of time in their bank branch server. And in the evening around 5 o'clock, they actually, together whatever transaction happened within the day, they send to the basically centralized database or centralized, server as such. So this is what we say batch processing. However, on the other hand, nowadays what is happening, there are applications where if any transactions are happening, the bank branch people are right away putting the data in a right application, and the real time everything is getting update everywhere, right? So how this batch processing and real time data integration work, we will see, and where it is actually like, again, it's not something like that batch processing is a legacy, technology, or real time is a something new technology. No, there are few places still we need the batch processing. There are few situations and use cases where still we are using the real-time data integration as such. So over here, again, the data integration service, that is a Azure Data Factory, because ETL comes over here, we are going to see in detail in the module 4. So I may go ahead and start with the concepts, and then I will show you the service, and then I will go ahead and show you the lab. Making sense? Yeah. Now, data processing over here. So data transformation techniques, ETL, ELT, this is what I was talking about. Data flow and pipeline orchestration. We are going to see so how we can do the automation, the pipelines we can create. So it's not something one-time process, every day, real-time process. So how these things generally work, we'll see and understand. Again, there are certain theorems that in the ETL that we will see in detail over here. Now, data warehouse architecture we'll understand. Then the dimensional modeling are there, facts and dimension. So these are certain like multi-dimension modeling we are trying to understand. And then we will see the again this particular service, Synapse Analytics. Then SQL for data engineering, where we are going to see once we have the data with the help of Synapse as well as Azure Data Factory, it is important to go ahead and analyze the data. So over here, you need to understand that we are not only going to cover the tools as such or the services. However, you will get a good understanding about the SQL queries as well. So we will see like SQL commands over there and SQL concepts, right? SQL concepts that you may use with MS SQL in a very prompt way. And whenever you go for like maybe interviews or any project, these concepts as in join, iteration, subqueries, these concepts are very important. So we are going to see definitely like multiple types of SQL, queries as well, like data definition, DDL, data definition language, then data manipulation language, and so on. All right.
Yes.
So once we'll spend some time about the SQL specifically in the module 7. Coming to the module 8, data processing. Okay, big data processing. So over here, you need to understand that when we talk about the big data processing, the famous technology is the Hadoop. Okay. Now, what does actually Hadoop does? It not only keep the all the data at a single place, they distribute the data. Okay. They keep the data in a multiple again storage, which are independent from each other. However, they are related, like connected with each other. Not only they are just dumping the data into multiple places in a distributed way. However, the compute is also getting distributed. Now, what is the benefit of that? Consider that we have a one machine which is computing the data versus we have a machine like multiple machines with multiple place to keep the data. The frequency, the power is going to be increased, right? As well as considering that these are the basically multiple you can say places where keeping the data, multiple independent compute power are there. So even if the one compute or one server is going to be down, the other servers are actually there, which is going to help to continue the process. Yeah, so there would be no interruption even if there would be a single machine would be down as such. Yeah. So handling large scale database, batch processing compute is like these concepts we are going to understand. Then real time data processing, very, very important concepts. Every business needs this now. Okay. Where we are going to talk about the streaming data concept, how the data can be streamed, event driven architecture we are going to see, real time data analytics uh, we are going to see. So in the e-commerce, in the banking system, uh, in the on demand television, you know in these particular technologies or domain, basically these concepts are very important, we are going to understand. Now, when we are talking about a lot about data till module 9, that how we can go ahead and gather the data, how we can go ahead and transform the data, how we can load the data, then how we can go ahead and basically consume the data in terms of streaming, event driven, real time, and how we can go ahead and visualize the data. However, it's very important to keep the data secure, governed over here. Yeah. When I say security and governance, because if the data would be leaked, so whatever, work we have done, whatever hard work we have done as of now, there would be no use. Because if it is going to misuse by someone who is actually going to harm the complete system, that's not a right thing. That's not a good for us or anyone. Yeah. So we are going to understand the multiple security options, access control in Azure, data governance, compliances policies, how we can apply that. Yeah. And then we will do the hands-on project. Real-time case studies are going to be there using the Microsoft Azure. So a skill you will develop over here, definitely strong understanding of cloud data engineering using Microsoft Azure, ability to design, build data pipeline with ADF. Again, it's expertise in data storage management in Azure Data Lake, and a skill in the big data analytics processing with Azure Synapse Analytics. So these are the tools, generally, technically, we say these are the services that we are going to cover, as I told you initially, like Azure, Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, Data Factory, Data Lake, Synapse. Live projects, we have given certain examples, but definitely you can come up with your ideas, which is going to be helpful. Yeah,
Uh,
tell me. Any
there
questions?
are, yeah, small questions are there. I just wanted to know, means, do we need to have a knowledge for PL SQL while running this, while working with Azure? Do we need to have a knowledge on it?
See, we don't need a very like a detailed knowledge, and
Okay.
that is the reason, as I told you in module 7, I'm
Yes.
going to start right away to how to create a table.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you, yes,
I
yes.
will have, I will go ahead and cover. Don't worry about that. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. Why I'm asking is, means I just need to have a idea just whether in real world are we going to use PL SQL for this or not.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the reason
definitely.
I'm
We are
asking. Yeah.
definitely going to use. See, when we talk about basically data analytics, okay.
Yes. Yes.
Now, let me tell you, data analytics can be done not only with SQL right now. However, the data analytics is going to be done through the Python as well. Data
Yeah.
analytics can be done through our language as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So I am going to stick in this particular course in SQL and Python. Okay, because
Okay.
these are the most people use basically these two languages. Okay, all right.
Okay. Okay. Mm.
So PySpark we will go ahead and cover, and I will touch base the Databricks as well for you. Okay, little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. How much time does this course take, sir?
See, basically, as it's mentioned over here, you see at the bottom, we see like generally it is going to be take like considering like 1 month, not more than that. Okay.
Okay.
In terms of the hours, so as we have decided, like Hema would be right person, but just give you idea, like around 1 hour to 2 hours on the basis of lab and everything, we will go ahead and
Oh,
take every day. Okay. Hope you are comfortable with everyday session, right?
yeah, yeah, yes, sir. Except in the
Saturday,
Saturday
Sunday.
and Sunday.
Saturday. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Even
Yeah.
I am not comfortable for Saturday, Sunday session. Okay.
Yes,
5 days in a week, we will keep it. Okay.
yes, yes,
And we'll do it in a good way. So don't worry about that. All
yes.
right. And the curriculum that we are going to use, see, basically, I will go ahead and come up with certain presentations right now. So this is a Microsoft official. See, I am Microsoft certified trainer. Okay. So we
Yes.
get Microsoft Azure uh, official basically presentations. All right.
Yeah.
So you may see that I keep using a lot of these type of, again, like introduction, these are presentation. Fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we talk about like today, I thought of start this one. So this presentation I'm going to use for you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
And also there are official lab in the GitHub, okay, of Microsoft. So,
Okay.
since it is kind of a customization course for you right now, okay,
Yes.
where you are going to learn. So, I will keep giving you a lot of basically labs. When I say labs, what I mean over here, let me show you just one of the example, okay? So, if you go to the GitHub, so there was a famous course, DP203. What we are going to learn right now, this is DP203. Okay.
Yeah.
Like most of the time. So you see, not this one. Yeah. This is official Microsoft channel. Okay. Mm, okay. They have close one. Okay. No worries. I'll show you this one. Yeah. They take me. Okay. Oh, okay. I think they have stopped this one. Okay, no worries. I will go ahead and show you. I
Hmm.
have the complete lab for this. Okay, I think they have stopped this one in the official one. Okay. Mm. Okay, no worries. I have written this thing as well. Okay. So I'll go ahead and cover those lab. Fine.
Uh, just for the confirmation, Piyush,
Yeah.
do we have, are you going to take any scenario in the lab as you are saying, right? You are making the things happen
Correct,
through
correct.
lab
That
only.
that is going to be scenario. Yeah, that is going to be scenario only.
Yeah, scenario based means why I'm asking is learning things in the scenario based will be much better,
Absolutely.
right?
Completely agree.
Yes.
And see, for such type of trainings, we actually keep the scenario based. labs only. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when I say scenario-based lab, there would be a proper scenario would be there.
Yeah.
And not only scenario, however, we will start right away from the architecture diagram itself.
Okay then. Yeah.
That this is how things will work. For example, the banking scenario, FMCG scenario, healthcare scenario will take those way.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
Because
Okay.
if you go, see, I'm also like I'm like DP 203 certified, and also if you go for any of the certifications, even in future, okay,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
you will have only in the Microsoft route, basically certification. If we talk only and only scenario-based questions. Okay.
Okay.
So this is now like I have cleared almost more than 34 international certifications. So now it is in our blood that everything when we talk in terms of scenario only. Okay. So
Okay.
because it's not only for me, however, like for you as well, it would be easy to understand, number one. Number two, if you are going for any interviews or maybe such type of certifications, this is going to be helpful for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think one more person has joined. Uh,
Yeah, hi, I'm Kalpana here. Push.
hey, Kalpana. So we started the demo just I think 10, 15 minutes ago.
Okay.
So Kalpana, like, do you have any specific question? Have you got it exactly what we are going to cover? Or you just joined?
Um, the thing is, what I'm looking for, I have an experience in other stream, which is totally different, which I have experienced.
Okay.
So I just want to get into IT, and this is the
Absolutely. Got it,
one
Kalpana.
which I thought like, and how that,
Right.
yeah. So I just want to go into it and get a job on this.
Mhm.
So individual, I do have so many people making me understand about the subject
Mhm, mhm.
and
Okay.
everything, like institutes,
Yeah.
many people are doing that. But
Mhm.
exclusively, I'm looking for an individual trainings because of to get a more and clear understanding about the subject.
Absolutely.
That's
So,
what I'm.
Kalpana, let me tell you that
Mhm.
when we are talking about this training specifically, okay,
Mhm.
by any chance, have you gone through the syllabus or something like that? Like, have you got it? What we are going to cover?
No, I didn't
No. Okay, no problem.
check on
On if
this.
you just give me a few minutes, I will just quickly explain Kalpana as well. This
Yeah.
one. Anyhow, today is a demo one, so I just wanted to cover this. Okay. See, Kalpana, we are going to start right away, like, what is data engineering? The fundamental concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where we will go and, make you understand why data is important, what type of data exactly going to be like, use in these days in a multiple, again, scenarios or multiple domains, be it like a IT, healthcare, or maybe like ERP systems, or maybe, banking systems and other places. All right.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, when we are talking about this data to be engineered as such, so they need like it needs a tool, it needs a
Mm.
platform actually to keep the data right at the right place, to clean the data, right? Because when we talk about data, it could be a
Yeah.
very raw data as well. So when
Yes.
we have a raw data, so raw data may not give us or help us to make a right business decisions. So we need to clean the data as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are certain algorithms, methods that
Yeah.
we will go ahead and understand in terms of the concept. And later we are going to see that which Microsoft Azure tool, that is a cloud basically, platform to be
Mm-hmm.
used to clean the data.
Mm-hmm.
Making sense? So when we are talking about this platform, so it is also important to understand some fundamentals of this platform. How does it look like? What are the options we have? What are the file systems? Because ultimately the place we are going to keep it in terms of file system. How
Mm-hmm.
much money exactly we need to spend? How what is the architecture of this? So all those fundamentals we are going to cover over here, as you can see, as an Azure fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Introduction we will give over here, then fundamentals, then we'll go for the data storage concepts, where
Yes.
the way that we keep the data has been drastically changed in last 10 years.
Mm.
Okay, so we have something as in like older style, and there are newer style as well. So relationship and non-relational data. Okay, relational data, non-relational, then data lake concept, data warehouse concept, and
Mm.
all these are going to be used with the help of data, Azure Data Lake Storage. That is one of the service of Azure. Okay, so we'll go ahead and cover that.
Okay.
Similarly, there's a concept of the ETL, extraction transformation load. So whenever we talk about data, we need to extract the data from some place, some resources, isn't it?
Mm.
So how to
Mm.
extract the data? How to continuously extract the data? That is also important. It is not only one time we extract the data. So for that, we need to create something as a pipeline and certain techniques we need to use. And there is like those concepts. And again, like, uh, do we need to extract the data only once in a day, or maybe on a real time basis? In
Mm.
every second, we need to check that data is present for the extraction or not. So that is considered as a real time data injection. Okay.
Mm.
So for that, there is a tool used as in data factory. So what is a pattern of learning? If you see in every module, first I'm going to give you the introduction of the concept, and right away which tool is going to
Mm.
be used, those concepts, that tool introduction, and then utilization.
Mhm.
So when I say utilization, so scenario based questions are going to be there. That is going to be
Okay.
resolved with the
Mhm.
help of lab and the concept. Okay.
Okay.
Then data processing, where ETL and ELT processes are there, data flow, pipeline, orchestration. So there is a little bit of theory we will go ahead and cover in the data processing. Then data warehouse, where we have like, multiple modeling concepts we will understand. And
Mm.
there's a place like we generally have a Flipkart warehouse. We generally have a goods warehouse and all, right? So similarly, we have
Mm.
the data warehouse where
Okay.
everything would be very much in organized. So
Yes.
there are multiple architecture things are there. So we'll go on cover.
Mm.
Now, after that, the traditional way and very popular is the SQL, structured query language. We will try to understand how the structured query language generally work, how the
Mm.
structured query language, like what type of queries are there. So there are
Mm.
concepts of join, integration, subqueries, very important concepts in terms of the data engineering, where we
Yeah.
can go ahead and analyze the data with the help of this. And as
Okay.
I was telling Pawan as well, that
Mm.
we will go ahead and cover a little bit Python as well. Okay. So those things we will cover over
Okay.
here.
Mm.
Then,
Mm.
very much famous, popular in these days because of the AI era, big data processing.
Mm.
So we are not going to use very small, like when I say big data, I'm talking about considering that in these days we have Aadhaar card, isn't it, in India?
Mm. Mm.
Now, almost like everyone has the Aadhaar card, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, if everyone has Aadhaar card, so there would be certain place where we have, like, government of India has kept those data, isn't it?
Yes.
So
Yes.
those huge volume data, how we can manage? So it's not easy to manage those data, isn't it? Because the volume
Mm.
is very high. Even if we need to go ahead and update the Aadhaar card, so we need to
Mm.
put the Aadhaar card number and then maybe name or address we need to update.